Check it out, guys. What a happy day. Probably the last time I'm going to do this year. I still have some movies from the previous haul to show you guys. Word of advice, when you're throwing away your old boxes, make sure you root through. This was in, this sticker was in the last box I was about to take to the recycling. So root around for stickers and things like that. But let's go ahead and crack these open. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, that is the non-horror stack from both. The ones at the bottom in the plastic are from Hamilton Books. The rest are used from Darkside Records. This is the horror stack from Darkside Records. I'm going to throw the Hamilton Books horror movies on top. Whoops. So we'll do the horror stack today, the non-horror stack for another time. Let's go. All right, let's do the Darkside Records. And yes, I did get another sticker. I already have one of those. Let's do the Darkside Records first. These, of course, are used. The majority of them are about $4.99. We got the classic Blu-ray Evil Dead 2. What can you say? Great movie. What can you say? Classic. Speaking of dead movies, of the trilogy, this is the one I most need to rewatch. And of course, I have Night of the Living Dead a few times over. Almost everybody does. It's public domain. It's everywhere. I even got it it was a bonus movie in a disc of Halloween songs once that I got for my kids. They had a whole... But I don't have Dawn. I've seen that many times, though. This one I've only seen once or twice. Maybe even once. Watched it with a bunch of friends in high school or right around that time. They were not too impressed. I think it took away from the enjoyment. Audio commentary with a lot of people, including Savini and Lori Cardille. That's cool. She's, of course, the daughter of Chilly Billy, Bill Cardille, who appeared in who was a horror host and who also appeared in Night of the Living Dead. Cool. Alternate cover art. Very cool. Never seen that before, I don't think. Very cool. Looking forward to rewatching that, sort of reevaluating that one. And this is a remake. I've never seen the original, but I really like this. I like the heck out of this movie. We Are What We Are, starring Bill Sage, who really could have and maybe should have done a lot more in horror. He's very good. But also starring Nick D'Amici, so hold on to that thought. And you got Michael Parks. In Sickness and in Health. What do you think the title's going to be? Zombie Honeymoon. I've heard mixed things. Some people think it's pretty funny. And I do want to get into some zombie movies eventually. I have that giant book of zombie stories, so I want to do it in conjunction with that. Okay, now, as I mentioned, We Are What We Are stars Nick D'Amici, and the screenplay is by Nick D'Amici, based on the story from the original film, and it's directed by Jim Mickle, so I'm a real fan of this combination. So we'll start the Hamilton Books films. Here we have the Stakeland Collection 1 and 2. Stakeland 1 is very good. I've seen both of these. It's almost like a Walking Dead type of world, but with vampires. So both films starred Nick D'Amici and were written by Nick D'Amici, and the first one was directed by Jim Mickle. And a lot of times you'll see some of the same actors, like Kelly McGillis or Wyatt Russell in their films. Let me just show you real quick. Perhaps Jim Mickle's biggest movie so far, Cold in July. You see the cast there. This one also features Wyatt Russell. And Nick D'Amici is in it, and he wrote it. Well, they both wrote it together. So, big fan of that collaboration. Next, another version of Dracula. After in my Brides of Dracula video, I went on, I went on and on and on about how refreshing it is to be able to go in a different direction with a sequel, and that the original is Well, the original story we know pretty well, even though they have different takes on it. But I went ahead and got this because, number one, I'm a huge fan of made-for-TV movies, especially those of Dan Curtis, and also a fan of Jack Palance, who plays Dracula in this one. And it also is a 2-pack with The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Let's see, it looks like most of the special features have to do with interviews with Jack Palance and Dan Curtis. That'll be interesting. Most of the special features have to do with Dracula. Oh, wow, screenplay by Richard Matheson. Good cast, mostly British actors, aside from Jack Palance, Simon Ward, Nigel Davenport, Fiona Lewis. Really good, really cool. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to watching both of those. Next, this is something from Arrow. Yeah, guys, you got to go look on Hamilton Books. A lot of this stuff you'll see on other sites. Things from Arrow and Indicator, maybe, perhaps. And we got a Vinegar Syndrome right here coming up next. Hold on a minute. You got to go check, because they might have it $10, $15 cheaper. Okay? The Invisible Man appears. Apparently these were 2 films. Let's see. 2 of the earliest examples of tokusatsu cinema from the studio that later was the later home of camera. Special effects cinema. Oh, cool. The Invisible Man appears, and The Invisible Man versus the Human Fly. That's quite a sequel. Jumping right into the Human Fly. Looks like we got some good special features. Homegrown Horrors, Volume 1. Yeah, this was on Vinegar Syndrome. I got this for about $30, which is a little higher than what I might pay for 3 sort of lesser-known slashers. But, you know, hey, you got to keep physical media alive, and I thought it would be fun to review these. We have Beyond Dream's Door, Winter Beast, and Fatal Exam. Having said that about the prices, there's an alternate cover art there. Well, that's pretty cool. On the Vinegar Syndrome website, I think it was around $50, and that was discounted. It was even higher than that. So yeah, you got to look around. Next, Mega Time Squad. Just a total blind buy. Out of time without a clue. This looks pretty wacky. A lunatic masterpiece, says somebody. Okay, I think this is Australian, so... yeah. Okay, Mega Time Squad. I've gotten a few of the more modern Hammer films. Woman in Black 2. I'm still trying to get Woman in Black, the remake, and The Quiet Ones. And here's another one, Wakewood. There you go, Hammer presents Wakewood. I have seen this before. An instant folk horror classic with Aidan Gillen and Timothy Spall. The dead should never be woken. Yep, so they decide not to wake the dead and the movie's over. It's only 20 minutes long. Kidding, of course. Oh, I didn't take the tape off. Yeah. Kidding, of course. Horrible things happen, but pretty good one. Not the happiest movie ever, but I'm looking forward to rewatching that. Next, I saw Kenny got this, so I had to grab it from Kenny's Movie Palace. The 2 of us and a few other YouTubers are really preaching the gospel when it comes to Hamilton Books. I got to tell you. Anyway, another Midnight Movies double feature. I love these. Gorilla at Large. You know, I've got quite a big stack of gorilla movies. Gorilla/ape/Sasquatch movies. This one, wow, look at this cast. Lee J. Cobb, Raymond Burr, and Lee Marvin. Cameron Mitchell and Anne Bancroft. Get out of its way before it's too late. And then you have this. I don't really know much about this. Mystery on Monster Island. On an island forgotten by time, perilous adventure awaits. Okay. Oh, based on a Jules Verne. Okay. Based on a Jules Verne. Oh, wait a minute. Wow, it's got Peter Cushing and Terrence Stamp in it? Wow. Yeah, well, Cushing was in a few of the Amicus Edgar Rice Burroughs adventure-type movies. So that one might fit right in. Hopefully it's pretty good. Should be fun, regardless. Next, is a Joe Bagos movie. I have seen it before. I have VFW. It's probably my favorite Joe Bagos movie so far. I have seen this before. It's very good. It's rough. It's a rough watch. Bliss, from the director of Mind's Eye. That's another one. So the only two I own are this one and VFW. But I want to get all of them. Plays Like Gasparino by way of Abel Ferrara. Yeah, this might be objectively his best film. But VFW is so much fun. Yeah, this was a rough one. What is this lady's name again? This young lady. Dora Madison. She was in VFW. She's in this. George Wendt had a relatively small role in VFW, and likewise, he has a small role here. She's an artist, and she has visions, and there's drugs involved, and there aren't a whole lot of likable people from what I remember, but it is a very interesting movie to watch. There you go, guys. There's my complete Hamilton books. Darkside Records. Horror Hall. I'll be back to review the non-horror films in the future. Okay, come back. And as I always ask, which one of these have you seen? Are you guys fans of any of these films? Which one would you be most interested in seeing? Let me know in the comments below. Later.